Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com. Today we're taking a quicker look at and installing the Barricade premium molded fender flares available for the 09 to 18 Ram 1500. There's about 3 reasons you might be picking up a set of fender flares for your own Ram. Number 1, maybe you want that aggressive off-road styling to the exterior appearance of your truck. Number 2, you might have wheels and tires that stick out just a little bit outside of your fenders. In a lot of cases, that is illegal for road use, having your tire poke out wider than the side fenders of your truck. Adding fender flares extends that coverage over the tires and makes them street legal, and it also gives your truck a little bit of a wider stance. The reason number 3 would be to protect your paint and your body panels from rocks or road debris both on and off road being kicked up and damaging your body and paint. Having fender flares gives you that extra coverage around the wheel well arches, so if something does get kicked up, it hits these and not your body panels, which can ultimately end up costing you money in paint and repairs. Now these are pocket style fender flares. That's exactly the styling you're looking at here today. This is not more of an OEM one, this is a little more geared to an aftermarket design. Now you are gonna have open holes here at the top for hardware that isn't gonna really bolt anything to your body, so you don't have to do any drilling or cutting. It's gonna give the impression of having rivets holding this to your body panels. So fake rivets are gonna be put in here. We're gonna show you guys how to install those in just a little bit. It's essentially just a bolt, washers, and nuts through the back. Other than that, you are going to be given weather stripping to make sure it gets that airtight seal, and it's also going to make sure it doesn't damage your paint having that plastic rub up against the metal. Now that material, by the way, is a very durable ABS plastic, which is something that is great for impact resistance, so you know you're getting a quality material that can handle off-road experiences. If you're taking your truck on the trails or the work site, this can take all that debris that's being kicked up, and that's kind of the point. Like I said, you don't want that stuff hitting your paint, but instead you want a fender flare that's durable enough to take that beating for your truck. Now, in addition to that ABS plastic, it has that matte black finish over top, which is paintable. Right out of the box, you get exactly what you see here, which goes right on your truck like we're gonna do today with our 2014 right behind me. But if you wanted to send this to your local paint shop to get color matched to your factory paint, you could do that as well. It's ready for you right out of the box. So that's something to keep in mind moving forward. If you want to pick this up for yourself, you can do so for just about $300 for the set. The set includes 2 for the front and 2 for the rear, and all of the hardware necessary to get the job done. Speaking of that job, I am giving this 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. The entire installation will take about an hour from start to finish for both sides. It's really simple. Anybody can tackle it with very simple hand tools. Like I said, no drilling, no cutting, no modifications. It's a simple bolt-on mod that uses pre-existing bolts from the inside of your fender liner, and I'm going to show you guys how that gets done step by step. So let's get right into it. Tools used in this install include a ratchet, recommended to have an extension as well, 7 and 8mm deep sockets, T45 Torx bit, 13mm wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, and wire cutters. The first step here before we can install our fender flares on our 2014 Ram is to get them on the table and install the hardware that I was mentioning just a minute ago. Now we have them on the table here. It's a T45 bolt with a nylon lock nut and washer on the opposite end. What we're going to do is take that apart, put the bolt through the open hole, thread it on from the back. Now you want to have a 13mm wrench to hold that nut from the back and a T45 Torx socket to tighten it down from the top. We have 10 of them on our rear fender flare, and then we're going to do the same process for the front, and then we'll get to the install. All right, the next step here is our edge trim or our weather stripping. This is gonna make sure that the plastic doesn't come in contact with your paint and start scratching it up. It gives you a nice bond between the two. Now, it's a really, really long roll. As you see, I have it hanging off the table here. What you wanna do is start it on the outside edge, so the edge that's gonna be touching the top of your paint above your fender. Start at that outside edge and just get a rough measurement of how much you're gonna need for the fender flare. From there, once you have that rough estimate, take some wire cutters or some scissors and cut it. That way you're not working with the entire roll while trying to apply it to each fender flare individually. So now that we have this, what we're gonna do is go to the one outside edge. As you can see, it's got a red backing. There's 3M molding inside of this edge trim to make sure it stays in place. So you're gonna peel back some of that red trim on the inside. That'll expose the 3M. Once you peel back the red backing on the 3M, you're gonna apply it to the edge of your fender flare. So we're gonna start from this side and work our way down the outside edge. All right, now before we can install our fender flare on our 2014 Ram, we have to remove a couple of bolts here in the wheel well. The first one is gonna be on the left side of our front tire, and again, we're on the driver's side front of our truck. First thing you're gonna wanna do is remove the bolt right above the split between the bumper and the fender. That's right here to the right of the headlight, that first one above the split. Grab your 7mm socket and take this off. So now we're gonna grab our 8mm ratchet and socket. We're gonna remove the two down here by our plastic trim. Next up, we're gonna put these clip nuts in the open holes on our fender liner. You'd remove bolts throughout this thing, and then once that's taken care of, you're gonna slip this right over the open hole. If it's a little loose, you can pinch it shut. You're gonna do the same thing for the other two on this side, but our 2014 Ram already has them installed. If your Ram has those pre-installed, you can skip that step, just like ours here, but if you don't have those clip nuts already in place where the screws come out of, you're gonna put them in place. They're included in the kit for you. So now it's time we can take our fender flares and put it into place. The 3 screws that we just removed from our fender wells are gonna get replaced back into the same factory location just to hold on that flare. And then we're gonna go through where we put our clip nuts along the top edge here and put our new screws in that were included in the kit. All right, now we can put our flare into place. Line it up at the back, make sure those line up. Swing it up to the front to line up with the bolt that you removed with your 7mm socket. You're gonna thread that through by hand. Once we have those in, I want to make one quick point before we move forward. If your truck has the plastic trim underneath of this section, you will have to pop that off. Now, you're already removing the 2 screws. From there, it's just a push connect clip at the bottom, pinch that and remove it completely. That'll give you enough clearance to get this past and line up the holes to tighten it down. So now we're gonna grab our 8mm ratchet and socket and tighten these 2 down. From there, we're gonna take some of the hardware included in the kit to tighten it down to the U clip nuts we've already installed on the trim. All right, now that we have our 8mm socket, we can tighten it down. The next set of screws are just going to be Phillips heads, so grab your Phillips head screwdriver to tighten the next ones down. Now for the rear, what we're going to do is grab our 8mm ratchet and socket, start from the back here toward our tailgate and remove these 2 on the plastic trim. Next up, we're going to keep moving upward and remove the next one on our fender. If we continue moving up our line here, we're going to skip the next one. On our truck here, this is an open hole, so we're going to put a U-clip on that. We'll come back to that in just a little bit though. Moving right along, we're going to skip the next one as well and remove this. The 8mm bolt directly under that also gets removed. And finally, the first one all the way at the bottom is going to get removed. Next up, we're going to put one of our clip nuts dead center of the top of our wheel well. It's got an open hole, and we need to put that through. Now we can grab our fender flare, put it into place, and tighten it down with those screws. All right, now we're going to set our fender flare in place. And just to hold it in, we're going to do our top center bolt first. You just want to get them tightened down by hand for now, making sure all of them line up, and then go back with your ratchet and socket and tighten them down. So for now, doing it by hand, we're going to move right back up to the next one. All right, now you're good to go. Repeat the entire process for the other side of the truck. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up my review and installation of the Barricade premium molded fender flares available for the 09 to 18 Ram 1500. If you wanna get your set, you can do so right here at AmericanTrucks.com.